How to Advertise Land for Sale. Welcome back. Now, I'm Ted Thomas, and I've been investing in real estate as an entrepreneur and an investor for more than 30 years. This episode is about how to advertise land for sale. Now, in the past, sellers were limited to just using local brokers and maybe a very few permanent signs. That's all changed, and it changed with the internet, and it's been a big change. So land is different than selling homes. Usually homes are built in subdivisions, very easy to figure out what the price and what the value of homes are. There'll be comparables in the neighborhood. There's probably even someone living in the neighborhood that might buy the property. So it's very easy with homes, but it's not so easy with land. So buyers that want homes, well, they want to move in right now and they want everything ready to go. Well, it doesn't work out that way when you're going to be involved in land. So this episode, later on, I'll explain a whole new market that most people don't know about, where you can purchase land that's managed by the government. And these are properties that are sold at large discounts of 60%, 70%, and 80%. Now, I'll cover that a little later on. That business is called tax defaulted real estate, and not to worry, I'll go into it. Now, local governments sell those properties for prices of 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar, and they won't have a mortgage or a trust deed loan on them. So if you want to talk about land, that's what we're going to do right now. So if you want to buy or sell land, it's a much different process than selling regular real estate. Why is it different? Because it's very difficult, at least when you're first starting, to evaluate what the land is worth. So if you're going to get involved in land, you definitely want to have a broker that understands land. Now, it's the same old business with land that it was with homes or offices. Location, 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 going to make a big, big difference. For example, what amenities does your land have if you want to sell it? For example, do you have water to the land? Do you have power to the land? Do you have roads to the land? All those things are going to make a big difference. Is it zoned agricultural or is it residential? So you have to think about those things. All right, now what about the sewer? Okay, now the county system is going to require, actually the county themselves is going to require that you have sewer in place or septic before you can do anything with land. So they're going to really be concerned about that. All right, so it's much more difficult to appraise a property and to evaluate it. Subdivisions are easy. All the houses are relatively close to being the same, and there's always comparables in the neighborhood, or certainly in the neighborhoods close by. All right, so what does the property look like? Are there old cars out there? Is the land got trash all over it? Those are DO killers if you expect to sell land. So residential land can be sold, but you're going to have water and you're going to have power to it. So you need to be thinking about those things long before you even get involved in the sale process. You need to know exactly what's going to happen with the water, what's going to happen with the power, and what's going to happen with roads getting back and forth. These are all very important things. All right, so is your price fair? Well, how do you know your price is fair? Do you have lots of comparables, or is there some justifiable way that you can compare it with other lands? If that's the case, it's going to help you sell your property. Selling property is not easy. When I say selling property, I'm talking about selling land. It could take a long time. More than likely, you're going to have to be the lender to get it sold. Local banks don't know a lot about real estate when it comes to land. They certainly know housing, they certainly know office buildings, they certainly know industrial, but they don't know land. So this episode is all about how to advertise land for sale. Now, where do you want to start? We'll start with the multiple listing service. Now, that database was set up for homes, but a lot of people put land on the multiple listing service. Now, that isn't where you're going to stop. You're not going to narrowcast with just the multiple listing system. You're going to use a lot of things. So let's think about multimedia when it comes to selling land. When I say multimedia, I mean a lot of things. I mean Trulia, I mean Zillow, I mean doing Craigslist, certainly doing every electronic site that you can think of. You've got to think that way, and if you don't do that, you're going to miss a lot of the market and take a long time to sell that land. So what are some of the challenges you're going to have? Well, if you're buying the real estate that I like to buy property that is been tax defaulted, because what the government does is they accumulate all that property, and once a year they have an auction. Now, that's not very glamorous to buy this property because most of them are used and abused. However, I don't buy any junk, but some of the properties are clean enough that you could just clean them up and you could go ahead and move into them. All right, so if you're going to be involved in land, you got to start thinking about what kind of signage you're going to use and what are you going to put on those signs. You need to put on the sign, direct words that say that you'll carry the paper. In other words, the seller financing available. You'll have to say that there's discounts available on the property. You'll have to have done drone pictures so people can see them. You're going to have a lot of things done. What are the property lines? Have you done a survey so people can understand? When they get out of the car and they look, all they can see is open land. Where does it stop? Where does it start? All right. What are you going to put on the sign? Are you going to put a telephone number so they can call you? Are you going to have someone that's going to answer the phone? Well, if you're not going to answer the phone, what are you going to do? All right. You're going to collect those phone numbers. Make sure you get the numbers so you can call the people back. All right. I don't know what the land's going to have, but the client that's interested in buying it's going to want to know a lot of things. So you're going to have to do a lot of things. By that I mean get it on Craigslist and refresh it every day. You're going to have to, as I say, hire a drone picture and let people see pictures online. You're going to have to build your own website. Why? Because people want to know what's going on in that property. You're not going to be able to sell it without doing that. All right. Now, if you build a good-looking website, people will look at it and they'll figure out whether that's a property they even have any interest in. That'll save you a lot of trips out to the property and say, well, they're not interested in it. So on your website, you can tell them how close the shopping is, what the chances of development, what can the property be used for? Does it have a good soil? Are you going to be able to irrigate the property? Are you going to use it for land development? What's the easements on the property? What are the restrictions from the county? All right. All of those things are going to be important when it comes to land sale. Whereas if you're talking about residential real estate, it's a piece of cake. Everything about the real estate is going to be the same as it was in the other properties around the neighborhood, and they have easy ways to compare. It's not easy to compare land. You know, land in one area can be very expensive, another area can be cheap. For example, you bought in West Texas, you'd find out it's close to being desert land, so you're going to get for $300 or $400 an acre. Go over to East Texas and buy the same land that's over on the Gulf Coast, and what's going to happen? That land's going to go for $9,000 an acre. Why? Because it's irrigated and it has much better soil. All right, so you're going to have to let people know those things before you try to sell the property. You're not going to sell it. Everybody wants top dollar. You're not going to get top dollar unless you can tell them a lot of information very quickly about their property. So selling land is a lot different than trying to do residential real estate. All right, now there's dozens of people trying to sell land. How are you going to sell your land? Are you going to advertise on other people's websites? Good idea. Are you going to advertise on Craigslist? Are you going to use Zillow? Are you going to use multiple listing service? You can't find enough places to advertise. You want to go everywhere you can, because if you don't, you won't get that buyer that you're looking for. Now, the United States is covered with property. I mean, there's masses of amounts of property. So you're going to have something different, and you're going to have to showcase your property if you expect to sell it. So let's review. If you're going to sell property and it's land, you need to start out with the basics. Start out with multiple listing service. Then go to Zillow. Put it on Trulia, get it on Redfin, get it on Craigslist, and renew it every few days. Get it on your own website. Put it on Facebook Marketplace. What am I saying? I'm telling you that selling land is one tough cookie of a job. So you're going to need a broker that knows what they're doing. So yes, the people in residential, they know residential. So don't use a residential broker to go ahead and sell land. Yes, they'd love to have your listing, and then they're hoping someone's going to sell it. That's not going to give you an advantage at all. What you need is a competitive advantage, and I'll give you one in a minute. But you don't want to get involved in land unless you're going to get a broker working for you. All right, so 30 years ago, I discovered a hidden market. All right, what was that hidden market? Well, it was tax defaulted property. Now, back then, I wasn't smart enough to have taken advantage of it. I just let it go by. But once I discovered that I could buy it low, and then I could sell it for whatever I wanted to without a mortgage or a deed of trust in the property, well, I never looked back. That business has been around for a long time. Now, it's not glamorous, but it's very lucrative. You can make $25,000 and $50,000 on one deal. Now, it's not unusual for my students to make those kind of returns. Why? Because we buy it right. You make your money when you buy, and then we're going to resell it. So we're going to make our money when we buy at the auction. Now, the county has confiscated these properties at the tax defaulted auction. They want to get rid of them. And when they want to get rid of them, they do 60, 70, 80% discounts, and then they sell the properties. So they incentivize people to come and buy them at low prices. They also, when the auction takes place, they delete the mortgage and the deed of trust. It's gone. There's no loan on the property. So you can buy at the right price. The challenge always is the same. You got to think about how to sell it. So just copy the big guys. Just do what Costco does, do what Walmart does, do what the big stores like Target does. They all do the same thing. what do? They buy it low and then they sell it a little higher. So do the same thing. Buy it low and sell it low. Don't try to get top dollar for the property. Now, what kind of properties are you going to get? You're not going to get properties that have just been painted and just repaired. These are slightly used and abused. Some of them are junk. Don't buy the junk. There's other properties you just clean them up and you can resell them. All right, so you want to get these properties on Craigslist. You want to get them on Facebook Marketplace, and you want to ask 50 or 60 cents on the dollar on the ones that you bought for 20 and 30 cents on the dollar. So you're getting the idea. So let's kind of do the math together. So if you could buy a property for 20 cents on the dollar, let's say that was a $95,000 property. All right, and you can get the property for, let's say, as low as $10,000. All right, so now you've made the deal. Now, what are you going to sell it for? Well, what you could try to do is try to sell it for the 95. But if it's used and abused, people are going to ask for discounts anyway. So why not just put it on Craigslist at $65,000 and sell it there? Remember, it's going to come with no mortgage and no deed of trust on the property. So no deed of trust loan. That property is very, very, very attractive to new buyers. And if you're willing to do the financing, you're going to have a much better chance of selling the property. Now, I'm going to run out of time, but right below me, if you're interested in an auction list in this business, I'll get you a free auction list. You just have to register below to get your free list. Now, 2 mistakes happen with people that are buying property. Doesn't matter whether it's land or whether it's homes. You've got to make sure that you have boots on the ground and you see what's there. Why? Because what if there was a hurricane? What if there was a flood? What if it was next to a chicken farm? You want to check out all those things if you're buying land or homes, because you might not want the property if it's damaged. So you want to see the property before the auction. My name is Ted Thomas.